It is a terrific
Tuesday.
A terrific Tuesday. For those of you who wonder what goes on before we actually do the show, it's total just shoot the shit kind of stuff.
Well, we're all waking up. We've all just looked at things. This is our first interaction of the day from most of us. And I'm sure
Jake is sharing stuff that he's read or good stuff on Twitter. He's really just a content animal. Share the story you were just telling us.
No, so most of you guys know we wear the Whoops, and Whoop does a really good job of content creation and getting podcasts, articles with athletes, amateurs, and then people like me who are just doing extraordinary things. And the article this morning was about a guy who ran an ultra marathon in the Sahara Desert. And it's 144 miles over a week span with 50-mile-an-hour sandstorms, and 3 people have died. And he did it and normally runs all these marathons. It's just insane. So what's possible? I think, it makes getting out of bed in the morning a little easier when you see other people doing stuff like that.
I think the bar is set extremely high.
Well, not only was the first paragraph about him running these sandstorm races, but then the next paragraph was that he set the record for running 48 marathons in 30 days. Yeah, so I was just good for you, man. I
had to run an errand yesterday. It was 3.5 miles, and I drove, and I was pissed off.
And I loved it. So, it's very David Goggins-esque for me. Yes. I love David Goggins. He's very mentally strong and teaches you all those good things. But there's one interview that he does where he's like, I broke my legs. My legs were broken, and I ran. And I'm like, he's like, I found tape in the back, and I taped them and put them together. And I'm like, all right, man.
And I'm just
trying to make a sale here,
So we got lots of content today. We told everybody this week we're going to focus on life. So we'll continue with a few more of the takeaways from the game of life. Then we have unbelievable motivational music. And then we get into 18 things that a father should teach a son. So speaking of that, can I get a baby update?
Yeah, sure.
So young Jules joined the 4 a.m. club this morning.
I didn't see that one.
So Mark texted me at 4 o'clock. Obviously, I was up. And he said, Jules has joined the 4 a.m. club. Look at those eyes. Look at how intent he is. There's just so much proud.
He's like, why are you taking a picture of me at 4 o'clock in the morning?
It's great, man. It's just, we are so blessed, so happy. Lots of really good joy hanging around us. Couple of big days, things happening in the headlines. It is National Licorice Day. A shout out to my favorite entrepreneur, Warren Struhl, who is the founder of licorice.com. He and I spoke about a week and a half ago, and he sent me a gift package. I got to tell you, man, I love licorice. I had brown, I had black. I've had from all over the world.
I thought I hated licorice. I thought that was something that I did not like until we got this goodie basket filled with all these different flavors, shapes, sizes, textures. And sure enough, I ate 2 of the baskets by myself. So
it is.
I will say though, black licorice is the worst thing.
Yeah,
but I don't know how anybody eats it. I don't know how anybody eats it.
Here's the thing: you do not know this, but licorice root is actually really good to soothe the stomach. It's actually.
How did you know I did not know that?
I know that you did not know that because you were talking.
Because it wasn't a lesson you taught me.
So when you're not feeling well, licorice works. It is also national. So big shout out to Warren. Go to that website, licorice.com. Buy yourself some licorice. By the way, one of the greatest gifts. We gave it out over the holidays, and it was just fantastic. Shout out to my girl, Kim Swears is back in the house. Thank you, the boat boss, who has taken care of us recently to put us on the water. Thank you. She's been busy, so it's good to see her here. Shay, show me the gift that she bought for us, man. Bang. She is sending this out to her peeps. No better way to frame up the day. It is also National Grilled Cheese Day. So in this world of, what do I say to people? What's going on? You want to reach out to somebody today. Just ask them, what's your favorite way to eat grilled cheese? Jake, do you know anybody that doesn't like grilled cheese?
People who are lactose intolerant.
But they can such right?
You ask for a question, you get an answer.
Okay.
But no, I think grilled cheese is one of the best meals. And probably have to do it with some tomato soup.
I love that. Is my favorite combo. So I think one of the times that we did it with Mark, we talked about, do you cut off the edges? Do you cut it in half? Do you cut it?
I think that was the PB&J. We've done sandwiches, this hot dog. Like there's.
Is it taboo to have ketchup with grilled cheese?
Oh no,
dude, that's weird. Taboo. It's just weird.
That is, yeah, that's just not weird. So we have all of this great stuff going on. You got Licorice Day, you got Grilled Cheese Day, and then the news of the day. And I don't know why I would be surprised by this. Britney Spears is pregnant, 40 years old, and she announces she's pregnant. What? Tell me what's going on out there.
The chains got unleashed, so I guess
What the hell's going on out here?
Okay, anything goes. Let's wake up. Let's talk about life. Let's listen to a great song about life, and let's hear what fathers should be telling their sons.
Help, yeah. Wake up, everybody! Get up! Get up! Get up! Get up! Wake up! Come on! Come on! Wake up, everybody! Teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen what you have to say. Wake up, everybody! No more sleeping in bed. No more about to thinking, time for thinking ahead. Come on now.
Okay, D. Robinson. What? Grape jelly? For where? What?
I don't even know. I put grape jelly on like bacon, egg, and cheeses, but I don't know. That's
on a grilled cheese jelly.
Did Christian say disappointing to Shay? Because it is disappointing.
With the ketchup comment?
It's very disappointing. I expected way better from him.
I expected way better myself.
Well, I'm unique. I do some weird stuff like sometimes hot sauce on mac and cheese. Like there's some weird shit that I do.
Hot sauce on mac and cheese. It's very school lunch vibes.
Well, I put hot sauce on everything. So I turned Howie Craw to putting hot sauce on a Caesar salad. Changed the menu.
Right.
Changed it.
Right. You put me on that. I'll give you that one.
Right.
So Jeanette, I'm mustard all day. Jake would probably do ketchup, but I'm mustard.
I do ketchup on my hot dog. Sorry, I know. But where this conversation has gone in the comments to the best way to cook is to use mayo instead of butter.
Really? Never. It would never dawn on me.
I don't know just what's happening in the comments.
But you know what? This proves a point that the reason why we're here, Christian is right, jalapenos on popcorn, unreal.
What is happening? What is happening?
Jalapeno salt, fantastic. But here's my point. The reason why you build community is you can ask these questions, you can talk. So if you want to bring someone in, these are qualifying questions that really break down the bonds. Anybody, you're sitting next to somebody somewhere and you say, hey, it's National Grilled Cheese. Do you like grilled cheese? How do you like it? What kind of cheese do you use? Do you put ketchup on it?
If you ask somebody, do you like grilled cheese, and they look at you like you have 7 heads and don't answer, you're never going to be friends with that person. So I think it's...
Yeah, I mean, I love this. Jessica Kenny from DDL comes in and says her grandmother taught that mayo is the best. Now, I love mayo. Helen won't even go near it. She is completely anti-mayo, which is fine. It's very much like licorice. People either love licorice or hate licorice. It's very, right. You don't see people go.
And there is that fine line where there's too much mayo. It's absolutely disgusting at the same time. So
correct.
There is.
Oh, wait a minute. Jeanette just went off the rails.
All right. I don't know what game of life you guys are playing, but I want no part of it. So the decisions you guys are making.
This is either pre-smoking a tube or post-smoking a tube. Because, mayo with chocolate instant cake mix is like, what? Are we on Survival Island or something?
Right. Well, just like in the game of life, and I'll try to bring it back to the content a little bit, we all have decisions to make and can do things differently.
So here's let's get back to the game of life. There were 18 takeaways from playing the game of life. One of them, which I think is really important, is helps establish a basic understanding of financial concepts. Now, no offense, dude, but I've had some conversations with your friends who are, there are certain parts of the financial world they're completely oblivious to.
We'll go back to Lori and JA and how wonderful, they are to at least establishing a baseline for children on what it's like to pay bills, to pay taxes, to do all the things and have financial literacy. But I believe our governor just passed a law that it's mandatory for high school to have financial literacy classes now, which why it took us till 2022 to do that.
Right.
I'm not really sure.
I mean, what's the point of school in general if you're not preparing people to understand the basics?
Well, I think there's this focus on what you're supposed to do. What do you want to do in high school instead of just, hey, here are a bunch of life skills that you can apply to any industry or job, and they don't do a very good job of that.
And now it's mandated. Lori, pounding away, doing work, talking, making things happen. Great stuff. Listen, we can't get off this food conversation. Don, I'm going to ask you to leave. Miracle Whip is not mayonnaise. Out.
I can't believe it's not butter. I can. One of those things.
Scott Oglesby, we'll see you today. We get deep into LinkedIn with the Sistel folks. So anyway, that's one of those things. Getting a basic understanding of financial concepts. Games do that. Monopoly did a good job of understanding real estate and what to spend your money on and what not to spend your money on.
And I say that there's no resources for my generation when it comes to that, or really any of our generations, I guess. But I grew up with YouTube, so I'd be lying to myself if I say I didn't have every resource available to me. If you have any question about anything happening in the world, you could type it in on Google, and there's somebody giving an in-depth, description, lesson, education on it. So.
Is there any one of the rest of the 18 that rings your bell? If not, I can't wait to get to motivational music, one of my favorites.
So I don't know. I really got a kick out of it. Teaches kids about the rewards of success.
Nice.
We talk about celebrating the wins, and I think it's important for people to want to be successful and to know if you make the right decisions and if you do the right things, good outcomes come, and good outcomes lead to a happy life with people you love and stuff like that.
That's pretty amazing there, son.
I just pulled that. I hadn't really planned for that one.
Very impressed, man. Alive and alert and kind of jamming on it. Janetta's on fire this morning. She's already jumping the gun on the next segment. Let's do the bridge to that segment with the best song ever. That's life.
We need Patrick to help us sing it.
Yes, sir.
Did you hear about it? That's life. That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April, shot down in May. But I know I'm gonna change that tune. When I'm back on top in June, I said that's life. Funny as it may seem, some people get their kicks stepping on dreams, but I don't let it get me down. 'Cause this old world, it keeps going around. I've been a puppet, a pauper, a pirate, a poet, a pawn and a king. I've been up and down and over and out. And I know one thing, each time I find myself flat on my face, I pick myself up and get back in the race.
That's life. Woo! One of the big regrets is I was never able to see him or hear him live and in person. I just think that's the personality of the century. Right. So, but it leads us to things that a father should say to a son. There's 18 of them. There's probably 100 million of them. I have all these different lists and all this different stuff. You want to start out with the first one?
Sure. Trust is earned, not given. And it goes on to say, treat everyone with respect, but never let your guard down. Not all people are good.
That's a really good lesson, is that you need to be alert to the fact that there's evil in the world. I I believe in the devil. I know that there's an evil force out there, and you got to look out for it. So
yeah, I see it as keep your circle tight. You can have all the friends in the world, but not everybody has 25 best friends, or shouldn't. Not everyone can be the best. So for me, it's keep your circle tight and trust the ones that are important.
So we talked about my grandfather. My grandfather taught me this lesson. He taught me how to shake hands like a man, So, by the way, this was a different era. This now goes for everybody, male or female. Don't shake my hand like a fish, man. That is a quick sign that you have no confidence. So talk to me about handshaking.
Yeah, firm handshake. Look the guy in the eye. I think it was in my baby handbook. The Nudelberg baby handbook is how to give a handshake. But showing up the right way. I think it all goes aligned, and making that first impression or that consistent impression is super important.
So I love the fact that you coupled it with eye contact. Eye contact. You talk about number one is trust is earned. The number one way to earn trust is to look people in the eye. If I'm talking to somebody and their eyes are darting all over the place, I know that they're full of shit. They can't look me in the eye. So no matter who you're talking to, no matter what, if they're not making eye contact, it's the first sign that there's an issue. So if you train yourself to lock in on someone's eyes when you're speaking to them, it nails all three. Keep going.
Number 4, and I this one's an interesting one. How to throw a punch. Because I think it could easily go the other way and say how not to throw a punch. How alternative ways of dealing with a physical situation. I think we saw, obviously, with Will Smith, how inappropriate it is to act physically in certain environments and situations. And so I'm going to say that it's not. You shouldn't teach your son how to throw a punch unless it's defensive.
I like that.
But I change around how to stand up for yourself in the proper manner. Would be how I'll rephrase it.
These lists for me are so old. This is content I've had forever that I've used sporadically through my sales career to just have something to talk about with my sales team. Hey, anybody have kids? Yes, sir.
So for girls or boys, a lot of people put their kids in karate and stuff like that. No karate, jujitsu. Jiu-jitsu will eliminate most.
Jiu-jitsu and ketchup on grilled cheese.
Yes. You're welcome.
So, I love it, man. I love it, Shay. I'm skipping down. Number 8 is don't make excuses. Excuses in general are just you reorienting the facts to make yourself comfortable. Most people bullshit themselves better than they can bullshit anybody. I learned early on from my grandfather, that shit's not going to fly here. There are no excuses. If you get to the goal line and you do not score, it is not a touchdown. The whole premise about, medals and trophies and all of that stuff doesn't work, man.
And it goes with one before. Be competitive. This is a competitive world that we live in. It's okay to be competitive. It's okay to want to win. And I know we talked about it yesterday with Kai's with the A's and B's thing, but understanding what it means to win, like understanding and enjoying what the fruits of labors are. I know they just put that in there, fruits of life or whatever, but it's okay to go for the win and it's okay to be first and strive for that.
So, Phil, who's so awesome, Phil just is still basking in the Kansas win, but he got to share that experience with his son. That only comes from hard work. That does, nobody's saying, hey, by the way, go to all these events and have nice things in your life. Understanding the appreciation for that, there are no excuses in that. One of my favorites, learn the power of silence. Most people think talking is power. When you see a sales guy yapping away, he's covering something up. Real power is let the room breathe, let the other person who talks first is almost like a chess game in and of itself. And learning the power of silence is terrifying. It's just, it's for me, it was one of the most terrifying things I learned was like, holy cow, I wanted to fill that air, and it's not the power. The power is silence.
And I'll take it one step further, the power of listening while being silent. It's not just sitting there in silence with nothing. It's allowing the other person to talk, allow the other person to put their ideas out there. You digest it and come back with something meaningful. It really improves the conversation and the relationship as a whole.
So all of the clues are taken from listening. When someone's talking, let them talk, let them going. The one who's talking the most is losing,
because the other guy's learning way more than
right, and the power to be present, fully present, without having to say anything. I went to a meeting last night, a gentleman, a men's group that was put together for fellowship. My friend Greg Wallach invited me, and I was talking to Helen about it, and I said there were many opportunities throughout the evening where I had something to say, and said this is not the time to say. This is my time to listen, learn the room, learn who's who, what's what, because the impression that people would get is this guy is loud and wants to just talk over everybody, you take away and you look at those, scenarios where you can sort of give yourself self-awareness, self-feedback really works.
Yeah, and just clarity. It goes back to being clear with yourself and your goals and your objectives.
So I love this one. It'll be our last one for the day. Love this topic. Make sure to stay tuned for tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going back to our favorite Wednesday. What would you rather? That segment's
are you go? I think you have to go in the hot seat tomorrow, right?
I think you're picking the questions and going to me.
Gotcha. Very cool.
We'll go back and forth. But I love this one, and it goes back to Frank Sinatra. Value tradition. Innovate, innovate, innovate. Do all the things. It's what we teach in modernizing the sales process. You still have to value the tradition, the respect. When you watch Mad Men, there's still history and regalness from being in the sales place. Own it, relish in it, and value tradition. What a great time of life for us. It's great.
The show rolls on.
Yeah,
the show rolls on. We'll be back here tomorrow, 7:58, same time. Same
April
duo.
Fools. Mark is no longer with the company. Jake is replacing him.
Yeah.
Mark is taking the job that Jake turned down at Alabama.
Right. Right.
Christy's great. There you go. Manners, polite.
Please don't joke about April Fools anymore. I'm still getting text messages congratulating me, so we're done. Please.
Unbelievable. Thank you all for joining. We had a big crowd this morning. I love that. Come back for Wisdom Wednesday. We got lots of stuff to talk about always here in the Daily Huddle. But now, what time is it, Jake?
Let's get down to business.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. Give you one more night to get this.